Yeah, there it is. Good to see you this new year.
Happy New Year.
You look so gorgeous.
Thank you. You too.
All right, Happy New Year once again to you, our viewers, and welcome to that familiar January reality check.
Did you say familiar January reality check? Like the longest month in the year, right? Anyways, the fireworks are over. The party shoes are packed away. Should I add that the clothes and, the merriments, have passed with December. And economists say this is the month when wallet starts speaking very honestly.
You're right, Niere. Across the country, January spending tells a clear story. Nigerians are pulling back, trimming desires, and focusing solely on survival.
Inflation may have eased on paper, but at street level, purchasing power is still under some pressure, and households are making sharper, more deliberate choices than ever.
You are rich. You are right, rather. Yeah, of course, we are rich. I mean, it's obvious. And the data backs it up. Economists note that January's spending is now almost entirely essential, driven food, transport, school fees, and utilities.
Please mention the school fees twice, because, it's for those of us still paying fees. I know for you,
I understand.
You can't understand. But of course, January and fees. Well, discretionary spending is largely paused. Businesses are feeling it too, with weaker consumer demand slowing trade activity.
So what's interesting is the behavioral shift. People are hunting for value, switching brands, leaning into informal savings like Ajo, and even exploring digital income options just to stay afloat.
January has become less about New Year, new plans, and more about New Year managing carefully.
I'm sure you have New Year resolutions and all that.
Well,
It's part of the management plan for you. And when it comes to planning, experts say Nigerians are trying, but the economy keeps testing their discipline.
Savers show strong intentions to save, yet volatile prices and unstable incomes keep disrupting budgets. Most savings are now emergency focused, not aspirational.
That's true. Financial analysts advised realistic goal setting and ruthless prioritization in 2026, because January has become the month that exposes financial habits in their rawest form.
In short, this isn't just post-holiday jitters. It's a masterclass in economic resilience, Nigerian style, way of spending and saving, or if you like, surviving, until we get to somewhere around the middle of the year.
Survival mode now. Anyway, today our panel of guests will give us tips on how to manage personal finances, especially in January, which many have described as one of the longest months in the year. Thanks for joining us once again. I am Ademola Adewi.
Usually January has like 40, 50 days. We hope that this year it will be like around 35. I'm Henry German. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. This is the largest TV network in Africa, and as you know, you certainly cannot beat the rich. On the program this morning, we'll read with the papers, of course, and for now, let's talk to the businessman who happens to be taking the morning news. I'm sure he's going to give us some tips on how to survive Jan. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA, and we are discussing the issue that concerns most of us, as Nigerians this morning, and it is how to manage personal finances at this time. Before we bring in our guests, let's quickly listen to this background report put together by Ibrahim Belogunda.
Every year, people start with optimism about how they want their lives to be, with goals to achieve and mistakes not to repeat. Experts believe that setting meaningful goals or plan for 2026 isn't about writing resolutions, it's about creating clarity, direction, and systems that actually work or are achievable. They insist that it becomes imperative to look at what went well in 2025, what drained your energy or progress, and what other area of life feels off balance. Is it work, health, relationships, or finances, among others? They are advised that planning effectively for 2026 will require the need to define your vision for the year, break goals into monthly milestones, stay aligned, and review goals regularly. According to some economists, January spending in Nigeria is marked by reduced discretionary spending due to high inflation, inconsistent purchasing power, leading to consumer prioritizing essentials like food while struggling with high cost of transport and housing. This has over the time led to belt tightening and increased demand for cheaper alternatives. Economic and financial analysts advise that after spending during the festive period, the new year is a good time to review and realign financial goals. Overall, they recommend less focus on the past and more on an optimistic yet realistic vision for the future. They highlight that the new tax law, which has kicked off, will see more Nigerians that earn above 800,000 naira annually pay more, thereby reducing their purchasing power. A 2025 survey indicated that while 79% of respondents actively try to save, nearly 19% cannot save at all, primarily due to low or unstable incomes. The majority, 53%, save primarily for emergencies, which are disrupted by volatile prices and irregular cash flow, frequently disrupting planning efforts, making a consistent budget a luxury for many. How can an average Nigerian plan in 2026, January in particular? Will the economic reality shape planning and priorities of Nigerians? And what is the relationship between excessive spending during the Yuletide and life after the festivity? These and more are some of the questions our guests on Good Morning Nigeria will find answers to as they help Nigerians manage personal finances this new year.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, for those pertinent questions that you have asked, and I'm sure that our guests are all set, to provide solutions to some of those questions. Well, our guests are here, and joining us here in no particular order is Chris Kaka, an economist and policy analyst. Chris Kaka, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And compliment of the season, Happy New Year.
Same here too.
Glad to have you. We have to interrupt your holiday.
Thank you.
All right. Also joining us here, as usual, is Yeshua Aliu, an economist. Yeshua, it's good to have you again on Good Morning Nigeria. Happy New Year to you.
Best compliment. Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Good to see you.
All right, also joining us for the conversation right here in the studio is Dr. Martin Sfakoride, a public affairs analyst. Many thanks for joining us, sir. Merry Christmas.
Pleasure is mine.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm still in the mood for Christmas.
Wonderful.
I was about to say Merry Christmas. And no wonder we're talking about finances. It means I spend so much. So I'm just wondering what January will look like.
Right,
of course, you'd speak to us about that. And also for the conversation is Professor John Alabi. He is a professor of entrepreneurship and corporate strategy, Federal University of Lokoja, president and chairman, governing council, the Certified Institute of Entrepreneurship and Enterprise Education, Nigeria. He joins us from our Lokoja studio. Prof, many thanks for joining us. Happy New Year to you. Join us. Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Happy New Year to you. And thanks for at least, we apologize for interrupting your holiday enjoyment to come here. Now, let's start with looking at the priorities that are likely to, surface, especially in January, after December spending, all the society weddings and all that stuff. What do you think are the top financial priorities for Nigerians, especially in January, and how can they be achieved? Let's start with Kaka.
Okay, thank you very much. Happy New Year, listeners. Well, in terms of priority, like you rightly noted in your prologue, the festive periods are times everybody wants to spend so much as if currency will be out of circulation in the next few minutes, and it might not become a legal tender anymore. And so one needed to be careful when you spend it, but then sometimes you can't help it. You've got visitors, guests here and there, commitments. In fact, it's that point in time, someone you've never given a dime from January to December, you find it almost necessary to want to send something to that person. And the imperative for it, you just can't, it's not something you can give a second place when you are organizing your priority, because some of them, maybe that's the only time you get to remember them, apart from their birthdays. And so, yes, you spend so much, but some of the spending become necessary, because as Africans, there is this communal feelings amongst us. You want to send to your parents, the uncles, the other ones, the siblings, and the rest of them. Even those you think have, you still want to show appreciation to them. In my place, you want to give to people who you consider as your elders, who might perhaps, even when they have, you still want to show appreciation to them. So there's always a tendency to want to outspend yourself, but then one is also advised to be very careful. December's and the festive period is like a pregnancy. It's a 9-month thing. I mean, it doesn't jump on you. You know, every December I've got to do this. And so it's important you start planning before that particular time. And not just when it is December, you then spend all you have and say, you must have been planning for it. Like someone planning for a holiday from January. You start putting money aside that I need to do this. By December, I need to do this. You have your list of what you want to actually do. But yes said, people spend a lot, and sometimes you can't control the spending, because oftentimes, even with the best of plannings you do, you find there are unplanned and unforeseen circumstances where you need to actually have to spend. You have guests who are actually showing up on you perhaps never seen. Like yesterday, I had a sibling who showed up from the UK who has been in town I saw them last about 10 years ago. I mean, you don't tell me not to break the bank if I have to entertain such, because I perhaps don't know when I'll see them again in my lifetime. So it's important I then create an impression, because they came with their kids. Incidences and occurrences like this do happen, and so we do it. But in terms of January, I must tell you the truth. It's also important when you're doing these things, you need to set money aside. And so you don't become like a man who say, oh, my wife just delivered a baby, I don't have money to go and pay for hospitals. It was a 9-month journey there. You should have prepared for it. You have kids to pay school fees to those. If you don't have, you have some dependents, you need to pay their tuition. So for me, the idea has always been, I think the festive period is like a person's wedding. It's just a day thing. There's life after it. And so you are very cautious how you spend your money, because beyond that particular day, there are other things more important than that particular incident. The best they would do is, maybe the best you have is a bragging right that my wedding was, the talk of town. But after that, there is life to live. And that's where the reality comes to face you. So I also feel in January, when you want to begin to, you need to consider January before you jump into it. And what comes to mind priority for those who who live in rented apartments, your rent becomes a priority for you, because there are house owners who don't take sorry for, they just send a lawyer to send you some documents, and in the next 6 months, tell you I need my. In fact, some will tell you I need my house. I want to convert it. One of my kids is coming back, so you don't make excuses that he increased rent. And when you then come with, give us a little time, okay, this is going to be the new rents and all the rest of it. So rent becomes a priority. Household feeding becomes a priority. Just to answer your questions, household feeding becomes a priority. There are dependents on you. You need to continue to provide for them. There are basic things that you need to put in place. And so some homes tend to want to say, look, let me pay the tuition fees of my kids for those who still have them in school. Let me try to see how to sort out my rents. If there are repairs, you have businesses you're running, whether nano or micro or whatever small other kinds of businesses you do, you also want to put money back in it. I'm one of those who believe that if you have a small business, no matter how small it is, whatever money you make out of it, yes, some say invest the whole thing. I think life is about a short place. Divide it into 3. Somebody give that wisdom to me. Reinvest one of it back into the business. Save the other part of it. The third one, you can pleasure your life with it. But to then pack everything and blow it, you're just about to shut down your business. So just to answer your question simply, it's important that these are basic priorities you need to set your money aside for. And I think it's important you keep the money aside for them before you start spending for the festive period. That way, January don't catch you unaware when it begins to happen to everybody.
Many thanks, Chris. I do not know if we're having this conversation at the right time, because people have spent already or in January, But did you use the term flanger?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what does that mean?
Oh, you actually spend on yourself, look after yourself. And
look
your
after
family.
yourself.
Yes,
Thank you. I wanted you to say that again because, of my next question, and Dr. Fakorede, I would like you to respond to this. Nigerians live in the moment. I'm sure you heard the term dirty December, or, all through December. And some will tell you, you are not sure of your next minute. So what you have, spend it, because, some will even tell you what you eat is, what is yours. Every other thing,
what the bird eats is what he will take to fly.
Exactly. Any other thing is not guaranteed, He talked about putting some money aside. I'm wondering if many Nigerians can put money aside when they live paycheck to paycheck, right? The income of most Nigerians is really very poor. So they live, month to month, what they earn, and all. For December, many people even borrow just to live the life. How can you save when you don't earn so much?
Well, it has to do with discipline, self-discipline. That's just the antidote to it. If you are not disciplined to yourself, by yourself, you will outspend yourself. Then when it comes to this wonderful January, exciting January, expected January, then you start looking at it, oh, what have I done? You start biting the fingers. December, usually in Nigeria, is not unexpected to each and every one of us, especially when the balance you talked about, which is a great brand now in Lagos, Nigeria, Dirty December. And that is reverberating throughout the nation. Even abroad, they look at Dirty December. People tend to outspend themselves. But if they take the imperative of discipline, before you get to that December, when you start earning, from January up to, say, November, you can put in more, setting aside, finances, some funds, setting money aside in savings. We will not stop by not talking about the formula to which you intend to, manage your personal finances. It has been said that a 50, 30, 20% kind of, savings, it's important to plan. Whatever it is you have in terms of finances. You may say Nigerians may not be earning so much. Probably you're talking about the civil service. But the civil service salaries increased.
70,000 naira.
Yes, that's the basic minimum. You're a graduate, you're not earning 70,000 naira a month, and you have experience over the decades. So your salary will be high up there. But when you just commence your service, probably level 1 or 2 or 3 or so, then you're on 70,000 naira. It has to do with your qualification. It has to do with your experience. And then when you start with this as a non-graduate, you gradually, improve. And then as you are promoted, your salary gets increased. Then there are other areas. The immediate past administration encouraged public servants, civil servants, to go into the business of agriculture and the downlines. But the current administration has said, civil servants, public servants, give respect to 8 to 5. After that, you can go into any business that will give you another source of income. So it is imperative that if we dovetail to the public service and the civil service, we look at having multiple streams of income. You don't just cocoon yourself into your office between 8 and, say, 5 p.m. max, officially 4 p.m., but 5 p.m. max. And then those of you that are usually on shifts, So you look at establishing multiple streams of income. How do you raise these monies to be able to have extra income? Your salary, though, may be modest, as the case may be, but within that modesty, you cut, the proverbially say, you trim your cloth according to your size. Somebody earning...
Is it according to your size or according to your cloth?
According to your cloth. Well, your cloth depicts your size anyway. So you set money aside. You don't overspend. You don't, as a civil servant who is earning less, and you've not gotten to that, directorate level, chief, whatever, technical officer level, then you don't, actually ask your children, you don't enroll your children in expensive, exorbitant, private schools. Rather, you go for modest private schools. You go for schools that are being, managed and owned by religious organizations. You go into good public schools. The current administration is doing a lot in terms of renovating and encouraging education and making sure that our schools, are better, for our children to attend.
for my personal example, when I was raising my kids, I didn't enroll them in private schools while they were in the beginning, the elementary and the high schools. They attended public schools, which I attended. And today they are graduates doing very well, exceptionally well in their fields of endeavor. So it has to do with discipline. December is there. It didn't just jump on us. We knew about December from January. So it's imperative the 50-30-20, model of managing your personal finances. Look at that, and gradually you'll get there. As said earlier, instances could come whereby what you didn't plan for in terms of expenses, could come your way. And as a responsible person, you want to do that, you will take from one of your, areas of funding, and then you take care of that modestly. Do not do beyond your capacity. Everybody has capacity. The three categories of living, those who are still trusting God for whatever, those who are in the middle class, and of course the haves, have these principles guiding. So there's no excuse for you to not be able to put money aside, set money aside in terms of modest savings for exigencies.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fakorede, for that, your opening remarks there. Do not do beyond your capacity and have a budget of 50-30-20, you said, and to be disciplined. Well, just like my colleague, noted that, most of the take-home cannot really take people home. And they face that big challenge of knowing how to plan properly. Because when you don't have enough to even, take care of your basic needs, it becomes, a big challenge actually to plan. But you have given some suggestion now that after work, you can do some extra things. Now, let's come to Yeshua now. You are an economist, and we want to be realistic now. And for us to have a realistic budget in this tight, economy, what are the things that one should consider?
Obviously, you have to understand the type of household you are, or the type of consumer you are.
Yeah.
And then that would determine your income. Some are conscious spenders, some are unconscious spenders. So in determining a budget, there is what is called financial literacy, to even understand the modern economy and the challenges of modern economy and your wants and the derivation of satisfaction from consuming very different bundles of goods. So obviously, like Dr. Martins mentioned, wonderful January.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, it's wonderful, but it's very, very specific, because we only celebrate New Year within 24 hours, and you are left with the challenges, and that requires you to, after celebrating that, yes, of course, it's New Year. Now we are facing reality, 2nd of January. Now you have to look at, now we are here. Transporting ourselves down here requires a budget. And then transporting to every aspect of your life and your choices within the year has to be a first consideration. Then you look at your health. Then before you look at education and other endeavors of life. So, like I said, if you are a literate individual, you plan based on your income.
That is, if you are literate.
If you are financially literate.
Literate, that's what I wanted to say.
Financially literate.
A lot of literate individuals.
So, and to be literate, you don't need to go to school.
Yeah.
Because when man was a wanderer, he was not financially literate because there was no financial challenges. But now, because of financial challenges, you must be financially literate to understand your projected incomes, either fixed or flexible. The fixed are the salaries and wages. Yeah. It's obvious. You know you are taking so amount. Then you now budget. When you budget daily, monthly, then you now go into the concept of saving little. It matters much. Because when you don't save, then you are bound to financially crash within the fiscal year, within the financial year, so to see. So in my own, individuals, household must understand that they need to arrange their finances day by day. The first thing is consumption. What are you consuming? At what rate are you consuming? What are you transporting? At what rate are you transporting? Then on health, health is always undetermined. And that is the dangerous part of it. And that is why you must be sane. But for food, if you are to choose, for instance, like I gave an example. Now, of course, you celebrated Christmas with a brand new hair, and
that's below the belt.
yes, and now
Just
because
mention the person's name.
let me conclude, and then I will mention.
And you are looking directly at the person.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
You branded your Christmas hair, but because you want to have a new style in New Year, you quickly, without expiring date of that same product, you now decide to now brand yourself again. Rebrand it again. Then you are making grievous mistake about what is called fashion, though it's different from men and women, because women, they are ostentatious. They are ostentatious because anything that has high price, that's what they want. Not minding. So, but the clarity here is for men to barb my head. I don't need anybody to say, your head is looking good, because I have gotten what I want.
Is it just women that are ostentatious?
There
are men who also go
naturally
for things that are expensive. I'll give an example.
Okay.
There are people who can buy a bottle of drink for 1,000 and be fine, but
Yes.
they rather buy drinks worth hundreds of thousands.
They are
of naira.
specific, but women naturally, in every aspect, they are ostentatious. And that's why they are categorized. They have ostentatious living style. Anything that is cheap, they don't want. The richest man the richest man in Africa, a black man, if you see the clothes he wears, always simple. If you see what he eats, always simple. But it's not the same with the richest woman on planet.
How do you know, sir?
You know, by their taste. By their taste.
But
because individual differences.
But not all women.
No. What I'm trying to see, we are now looking at how you budget.
Okay.
In a year. Once you are branding your hair, I may be on level 10, and a lady will be on level 10. I will be spending only 10, so a minimum amount to maintain my hair. But she will be spending 10 times of what? Just in maintaining hair. So in doing budget, for instance, you have now a yardstick. Let me tell you, even the spending we are speaking, sometimes we are over pushing our spending in December. Some are busy making money in December that will take them through there.
You see, thank you very much, Mr. Liu. You know, and that's why I want to ask Professor Alabi if we should focus on how we spend, or rather focus on how to increase income. You know, because some, you know, like Mr. Liu said, actually, if we make more money, then you won't be worried about how you spend, because, I mean, you keep making more money, so of course you can spend what you want. So speak about that. And also, I'd like you to speak about faith in economics, or faith in all of this conversation, finances. You know, someone said if you ask for your bank statement for the year, you'll be surprised that what you spent may actually be more than what you earn. Where the extra came in, some say is God, is faith. You know, the money just comes, it appears somehow. And just my response to Mr. Liu, the money that women spend just comes. I can't tell you the way it comes, but it comes. It comes. So speak about that. Should we add faith when we do this planning, and then should we focus more on how to increase our income rather than what we spend?
Thank you very much. I'm enjoying the conversation, and Well, let me just say sorry for the hard bash you are getting from Liu on air and air. Maybe it's speaking from experience. Just take it easy with the women. That's how they are configured and wired. But let's talk strictly about managing our finances. And the issue is, you raised the question, is it the income or the expenditure? And I say it's both. The starting point of managing finances for any individual is to know your numbers. What are the numbers? What are my income and income streams? And what are my usual expenditure items? And of course, do I have a history of emergencies that I can think of? Remember, so once you know those numbers, it's the starting point of planning. So it is not just like we talk of budget, or an account, debit and credit, income and expenditure. Both are necessary in managing our finance. Because, yes, you raise the fact that at times you'll be surprised that what you have spent is so humongous and huge compared to what you have earned. So it's important to know our numbers. Then, of course, naturally, therefore, you know to know, based on what you know of yourself and what you expect, you set goals. I want to say that a lot of us set goals based on what our neighbors are doing. Oh, I'm 1986 graduate, I'm 2000 year graduate, my friend works in a bank. Oh, we are colleagues, we belong to Egbe Omo Odudua, we belong to Iseleuku Association, belong to one association, and you want to just belong to the Joneses. Set goals for yourself, goals at how you can manage based on the numbers you have set for yourself. That is important. And that dovetails into that, what we are talking about, budget. The economists talk about it. Budget is critical. It's a plan of action for the year. Expected incomes and projected expenditures all around. And you can't do that based on, again, I agree with the panelists talking about streams of income. Anyone in Nigeria today that depends all his life on one income, he is a fool, and that fool is without remedy. I want to reserve that because Nigerian situation demands that you must have multiple streams of income. And someone was asking me, how do I manage? I'm a civil servant. All right, so planning is very, very important. What do you want to achieve? What are the things you want to do? How do you go about doing them? And in doing that, a lot of us will say, my income is so small, so I cannot save. That is also a fallacy. I say to you that if you earn 50,000 naira and you cannot save, if you begin to earn 200 or 300,000 naira, if you don't have that discipline, just like someone mentioned, you will not be able to save. Saving is a culture, a discipline that you must develop internally. If you cannot save while you are earning small, you will flex and reduce your money to nothingness. So it's important. So we need to do that. But among all this, I think it's important for us to realize that when I teach people about managing your finances, knowing your numbers, setting your goals, draw a plan, and do all not, I always say that please always factor in the Niger factor. Economics all over the world will give you various parameters and variables, but there is always a Nigerian factor you must factor in anything you do. So I say, have you adjusted your budget and your plan with the Nigerian factor? There are so many vagaries. Today, for instance, in the new year, or going to the end of the new year, you make a whole lot of calls. You have a budget of just 5,000 naira a week for recharge card. I'm telling you, if you don't call your siblings, your relations, your cousin, and wish them well, a big trouble for you. Even in the December you're talking about, even if you don't spend on yourself, there are traditional payments. I said to myself, I'm a professor. You know what you earn? Salary is in public domain, 500,000. My December salary do not go for a single thing in my family. It's to charity. It's traditional. They don't want to know whether you are a lecturer, you are, you are a consultant, you have been doing this, you have been doing it over the next year. So it's important. So again, don't blame Nigerians if you spend in December. What keeps Nigerians going? It may shock you to know that you're required to do some things in December so that, quote and unquote, you live your life coolly throughout the year. A lot of people depend on you on that. So it's important. So you adjust for the Nigerian factor. So income is very important. Saving is necessary. And I also allude to the fact that your 50, 30, 20 is good. But I want to give a variation. If you think that is hard, why don't try a variant of 60, 30, and 10. If you think that will kill you, a lot of people do not have much to invest anywhere. But then set something aside over time, and it's very important. I think also it's important for us to, like we have also alluded, distinguish between our needs. Very important. Somebody says, my wife just get to bath, I need money, please come and help me. And I say, but God gave you 9-month notice, not like the Nigerian landlord. 9-month notice, so you should have planned for it. The same thing goes for the year. So starting the year, I think it's important for us to know what our streams of income. So both ways, I must say, you need to know the incomes and things you can do with yourself. Then, of course, know your expenditure pattern and factor Nigeria. Then the issue of faith. That connects with me very well. I'm a Christian and I believe that we pray. Our Muslim brother also pray too. There's a faith in it. It's God that giveth the power to make rich. God said, I will supply all your needs according to riches in glory. He has not told you that you should be spending anyhow. But the issue of faith here is this: pray and work. While you pray, God will give you the strength to do the thing. So it's important, the place of faith. Don't go beyond what is more. Somebody gave a short story yesterday. Who is that person that wants a car by January? Said, I want a car by January. And I said, have you prepared the ground for that car? A car is 5 million or 6 million. You raise up your hand. It's important for us to realize that the place of faith is very, very important. God is the one that plans our lives. Whatever will be in life is God. But then while you are doing that, you must work hard for it. A lazy man will not be blessed. God says, I will bless the work of your hand. So when you lay your hand on something that is good, God will increase it. But if I said to you, if you lay your hand on nothing, then God is blessing nothing. So faith, the place of faith is very, very germane. Yes, in life, but you must work hard. So let us plan what we want to do. The costs that are not necessary, all right, that are not necessary. And like our guest sitting, a lot of us are talking about people who have high income and low income. Financial literacy is not about education. It's about common sense. You are earning 50,000 as a security guard, and you want to send your child to a school that your neighbor who is from the same village with you is doing. You can't afford it. Go to a public school. Don't live large. Don't live unnecessarily hard. A lot of our guys who are literate are living large. For God's sake, you have 2 cars. Why do you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars? Well, you don't need it. A lot of people are out there who need it. So I think the place is, again, don't forget, the place of charity. God blesses those who bless others. That is a thing I realize. A lot of people are in debt, not because of anything, but because of their gullibility and not assisting others. You have a little. Give out a little to other people, and God blesses that. That's the place of faith. I believe much in that, and you will never lack. Do something this year on your finances, or something will do you. That's what I tell my students. Everyone, do something about your finances. Recalibrate, re-strategize, leave the unnecessary, face the basic, or something will do you. But I pray nothing will do us this year.
Nothing will do me.
Thank you, Prof. Do something about your finances, or something will do you. Well, you've heard that now, Yere. Well, I mean, Prof has helped to throw a lot of light to our discussion this morning, and we're still talking about how we can be able to manage and pull through, especially January, which is seen as a very tough month of every year. Chris, earlier on, you talked about, one being able to stick to one's budget, but it's a bit difficult. It's a big challenge. Number one, just like Prof said, there is this Nigerian factor. Secondly, a lot of people, like in this part of the world, I mean, Nigeria especially, there's so much competition. You want to compete with and then there's this status, symbol everybody wants to do. So, I mean, it's like we are competing with each other, which is not supposed to be. Then again, to talk about setting goals, having boundaries and all that. But people set goals without putting systems in place for them to be able to achieve their goals. So let's look at how do you advise people? They have set their goals. They want to do things, but they don't have the correct system in place for them to be able to achieve goals. Secondly, what are the best strategies, for sticking to a budget in a year. You know, earlier on you mentioned that your brother or somebody came in December, and you already set your goal, but you had to go beyond that. You know, how do you, just like Dr. Fakorede said, how do you, instill that discipline, for you to be able to manage, your finances very well?
Okay, thank you very much once again. Before I respond to your question, let me react to two things that have actually been said. One said by Doctor here has to do with a minimum wage.
Yeah.
I'm not a public servant, but I wish to say this. The minimum wage of 70,000 naira does not take anybody home, and I think it's obvious. As a matter of fact, it's not about the nominal value of your income, it's about the real value of your income that really counts. If you ask a public servant if he was doing well when the minimum wage was 30,000 naira as against now, he tell you he was doing well then. So it's not about the minimum value, it's not about the nominal value of your income, but the real value of it. If you pay people what you used to pay them then and they live life, then inflation has taken a lot of things. So even if you're earning your paycheck is sounding high note numbers, I mean, what is the real value of it? That's what really counts. And I think that's also talking back to the government that, look, it is imperative to do something. People can do so much, but then, like they say in the Southwest, if it's just not worked that way, you could do as much, but there's also something the people who have actually engaged you, who you spend most of your time for. It's funny when you see people spend 30, 35 years on a particular job, and when he retires, he doesn't really have anything to show for it. And the next thing you hear, the man is actually gone, and you're wondering, what did you spend your life to do? I have a series of uncles like that I could cite as instance. A friend of mine died. He had not even collected his pension when he actually died. Just 3 months after he died, and I'm wondering, what did he live all his life for? So it's important government do that. Two is the fact that, like one of the guests also said earlier, issue relating to, that's one emergency, the best of budgeting you can do. There are emergencies relating to health you can actually help. And I think one way around it is perhaps to find, yes, if you're not a public servant, you are not enrolled in the National Health Insurance. But I think the scheme right now permits people as private individuals to register for the insurance scheme. It is important you do that. It's like having an insurance premium. It's like keeping an insurance for your car. Like, I'm not going to have an accident. How about if it happens? Oh, the premium I'm paying, the one I paid last year, nothing happened, but how about if it happens? It's important you commit, I think, about 20,000 naira to such things, basic medical needs that your kids might be having, particularly those who are having toddlers. You can't just predict what can happen. They can't talk, but these things happen. And you find the parents fidgeting. You can have this thing to save you such things. It saves you a lot of headache in the future. Particularly, even if you have the best of budget, you find that such problems still do arise. Relating to education is the other fact that some of the unity school most people want to run to, they feel the cost of school fees there is very cheap. But if you check the welfare of the children in school, it is very, very terrible. I once had a child in one of them, I don't want to mention the school, and he was telling me, on Saturday, Daddy, the akara they give us is just one, and it's smaller than this one, you gave me 6 in a plate. And I'm wondering, you give a child a pub on Saturday morning and he had just one akara bowl in his plate and you said you're giving him breakfast in the name of government providing for school. I think government needs to do so much about that. They are unity school, they are cheaper, people can send their kids to you, particularly public servant, but then you must also ensure that the welfare of these children is properly taken care of in those schools. Okay, back to the question you asked me. What strategy do we actually need? I'm of the opinion, permit me to draw a micro analogy about it. Yes, we've been having, I think it's only once, 2010 thereabout, Nigeria had a surplus budget. We've always been having a budget deficit. In other words, the spendings we do, it's more than the revenue we generate. So the deficit financing has to come from borrowing, which is also normal. This year is not an exception. I'm of the view that we could have, you don't spend more, you just live within your income. And it is, like Doc said, it's just about discipline. I'm not saying borrowing is actually wrong. In fact, one of the most developed economies in the world, when I hear people talk about the US and making comparison with US with Nigeria, go and check the debt profile of US. It's higher than that of Nigeria. But they've got a GDP that is higher than us. In other words, they have a system that can help pay off that bill without affecting them. Ours is just a huge problem. In fact, half of the money we're generating this year is actually going into servicing debt. And that's to tell you how difficult it is for us as a nation. So if the country I am in is living from hand to mouth, I don't know how you want me as an individual living with that system to actually survive it. So as much as it's much of a problem of an individual, it's also a function of a problem of the system where we actually work. In terms of the strategy to actually deal with this issue, it's like someone said, you must have multiple streams of income in the first place. Yes, you want to have a budget. I usually do that. Maybe because of my background in accounting, I get to do such things. As little as how much I have to pay for DSTV or GoTV, I write it how much I have to pay for the year. But unfortunately, sometimes you end up seeing that, yes, the best of budget you do, you also find some variances in it. What you want to ensure is that you don't have significant variance that could actually distort things. It could be negative, it could be, oftentimes it's always negative anyway. You find that you spend more than you can do. But what is also happening in a budget, because it's an estimate, but then it should be as close as possible to reality. And that's why we speak about issues about budget credibility. You are making an estimation, but you should, don't tell me today you are planning to buy a bag of Gari because it is 30,000 naira today, and you're saying, I'm going to buy Gari in the next 6 months for 30,000 naira. You are seriously not talking to yourself. Because you know by the middle of the year, it's not going to be the same price. So there must be an element of you factoring the high cost of things into it. Maybe you over-invoice, whatever it is, in planning whatever you do, to say, look, I'm making a projection. In fact, as a matter of fact, it is good you actually, when you're doing your budget, if this thing you are going to project to buy is X naira, can you make it X naira plus another amount of money just to provide for the contingencies that happen? You're trying to build a house and you've done your costing. I am certainly too sure if you have a 20 million naira to build a house, by the time you're done with it, you must have spent almost about 30 million naira on it. Because there are variances, things you can't explain. A bag of cement suddenly just changed. One government policy just turned something upside down. You need to provide for those. That's why you see in a budget oftentimes, there is a component that is there that is called miscellaneous. It does not have anything attached to it, but then sometimes some people take it as a fraction of the total expenditure they want to do. Maybe 20% of the total expenditure are planned for the year. Let me see that as miscellaneous. Because there are things that will definitely happen that are actually not been planned for. So a way around it, strategy for me is to find beyond the discipline in terms of spending, you can live within your income. I'm also believing that Nigeria can live within its income. We earn X naira, let us live within the X naira rather than trying to say we want to run an expansionary fiscal policy so that we can generate jobs. At the end of the day, the money fizzles away. And you actually don't see the benefits of it. And you're wondering, excuse me, why did we take this loan? Okay, we're taking the loan. What did the loan give to us? Did you do cost-benefit analysis? So for me, one of the strategies is about, like I said earlier, is having that particular discipline, like I said, trying to live within your income. It is possible to do. It is possible to live within your income. Beyond that, again, is the fact that, like he said earlier, you must be, you don't need financial literacy. My grandma is, if I put a bundle of notes on ground, she will count it faster than I would do. I'm still solving the maths with a calculator. And you might say, forget about it. We do these things every day, so we know how to do it. So it's not like he said, it's not about being to school. It's about just being involved in these things. Beyond that, again, the other strategy is you must, somebody said if you continue to do something the same way and expect a different result, you're actually not being serious with yourself. Pull the strings. Find something else to do. I can tell you funnily that the fufu you see, some people are packaging it and exporting it as we speak today. The friend, the sister I said came to visit me yesterday, had asked them to buy me pepper, buy me this one, buy me this one, buy me this one, powderize it. The smoked fish you see is in high demand overseas. These are things, the ogi we drink here, people make them, powderize them, and send it overseas. These are things that can bring you. Just find an aggregator that you can send this thing to. They are abundant here, but then people do not, I think we begin to commonize them. That's just the problem we have. I think with those things, we can always find out.
Thank you very much.
Look for something else to do that can generate.
Think outside the box, of course.
Yeah.
Many thanks, Mr. Chris Kaka. I'd like to get to Dr. Fakorede now. This conversation is very important and very serious at this time. I would like our viewers to be part of it. Send your comments, your suggestions, your questions, to the number on the screen, and I'm sure we would definitely read them, and our guests would respond to them. Dr. Fakorede, we've talked so much about saving in the course of this conversation, and I would like to ask, what is the best way to save? I'm saying that because I'm sure someone listening will think, okay, get money, put it in the bank. But we know when you put money in the bank in January, it depreciates by December, right? It's also subject to inflation and, so many other factors. So, should we be talking about saving or talking about investment? What's the difference, and what is the easiest anyone can do to increase their income?
And the saving is to actually set money aside in a particular account. That is why if you want to save as a family, as a person, you don't necessarily have to save in your current account. If you save in your individual account, as the case may be, that is not current, then you have some fractions of interest accruing to your money. Depreciation in terms of economy, you may be looking at probably the economy will nosedive. No, it has not nosedive in the past 2 years. Rather, the state at which government made it 2 years ago, there had been gradual progression, upward progression, gradually. So it's only those who wish to believe, even those who are blind, proverbially, have seen that various projects are ongoing in the country. And those who want to stay and not want to understand the various programs and projects that are people-oriented, will take advantage, which I will enunciate in a short while. To go into the aspect of savings, culture, and investment, it is when you have saved some money, part of the expenditure. That's why I said the 50, 30, 20 formula, will be very ideal. Last year, I recommended the 60, 20, 20, but I'm saying 50, 30, and 20, which is standard, globally. Because right now, economy basically has been gradually ameliorated, and then the 50% that you need to have will take care of your needs. Those basic things that you need to survive. Your rent is there if you're still a tenant, and if you're a landlord, you need to renovate your house for your tenants to be able to be comfortable within the confines of your property. The school fees of your children, if you're still, paying school fees, is there to take care of. Your daily survival in terms of feeding is there. Your utilities are very important within the 50% money savings that you have. The 30% in itself will be to take care of responsibilities. Probably you've taken out loans here and there. You could be a public servant and you've taken advances, salary advance, and then there's some loan sharks will come to you and say, Madam, you're earning 500,000 naira a month. We can give you $1 million based on your salary, pay over time. And you've expended. You can use that part of the 30% to take care of that. Then the remaining 20% that you have is recommended to go into investment. I'd like to give an example. Africa's richest man recommended on air, and it's public notice, that if you're able to garner over 300,000 naira, we are building the world's largest refinery. Invest this 300,000 naira plus, less than 400,000, in this refinery. And he gives a personal guarantee that you'll be earning dividends that you'll be shocked every year. So within the 20% of your earnings, you can save it over 1 year, you may save over 2 years. Invest in such top flight organization, and then you'll be happy you did. You can take advantage of the stock market, Nigerian Stock Exchange, in itself. Make inquiries at the stock exchange. They have programs for categories of people. So that's why I said earlier that we have those of us who are trusting God, proverbially. We have the middle class, and we also have the haves who've arrived. So investment has to do with everybody. Savings is good. Investment is imperative. So there's clear difference between the two. And you can always say, when you save, you also save for the rainy days, for challenges that will come along the way. You take from your savings. When you live modestly and you live within your means, then you're definitely sure that you will not have so much challenges that you will not be able to surmount, as the case may be. Other ideas that will come to play is that Nigeria as a country that has about 70% of our youth demography between ages 18 and 39 is now seen to be the fastest growing information technology country in the world, particularly the Lagos axis. We have our youth there doing fantastically, and various opportunities exist on the information superhighway, the internet. When you access the internet and seek knowledge by just clicking the button, on the internet, a lot of opportunities will come to you. It now takes you to be disciplined and know, should I go by the way of the negatives or by the way of the positives? What you want to do is to make your transactions abroad. This idea of commodities that can be exported It's wonderful, it's fantastic. My wife and I have decided that from Monday, we have opened shop, in Abuja, and we are packaging, as the case may be, items for export. Because I run ED Entrepreneurship School, an Enterprise Development Institute, so I also give training to people who intend going into that business as well, and quite a number of it, how to make it profitable. So it's available. If government has come up with idea that the Bank of Agriculture, willing, able, ready, by the first quarter this 2026, to give monies to people to advance the cause of agriculture. So why are we complaining? If within the confines of your home, as a public servant or civil servant, you can just have empty sacks of cement, fill it with sand, and implant stubs of yam within it. Just water it for some time. Have a lot of it around your compound. After a few months, 3-4 months, you have tubers of yam growing within.
That's every home a garden.
Exactly. A home garden, that you can commercialize. These are ideas that's available. My mother, yes, was a nurse. Even as a nurse at the time, she invested in Vaseline. She will go to refineries, those who get supplies from refineries, buy these products, mix them together in necessary quantities, package them, get plastics, and will brand them. Tonya Micro Enterprises, who was selling. She established the idea of having your gele and filler together, woven together creatively. So at the time, you can decide to put on the same headgear, the female, and then as a female, you like to turn it around, and then it comes as a cap. She established that, and my daughters are taking, advantage of that, where they are in Port Harcourt, where 2 of them are in Port Harcourt as we speak. These are areas to which you can look at. The economy of Nigeria is wonderful. There's nothing like when you say the Nigerian situation. The Nigerian situation is not negative. The Nigerian situation is positive. We encourage people to remove their hearts, their minds, their psyche away from negativity, because Nigeria is wonderful. There's no local government in this country that doesn't have a mineral resource at the least. And government is doing a lot in terms of promoting all this. It takes you and I to form ourselves into cooperative association and take advantage of what we have, approach the requisite government agency. When they work with integrity and patriotism, then all these things will be supported. The Small Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, is there to give support to small and medium enterprises so that they can help you fund whatever it is that you have. The government of Nigeria is looking at, giving support to the nano companies. Those are mini enterprises.
Okay, Dr.
The woman
Fakorede,
that sells one thing or the other there will get a little fund in all the worlds nationally.
All right.
With all this, I wish they going to be complaining that the minimum wage
we need
cannot
to be
take
very
anybody home.
optimistic. That's what you are trying to say.
We need to be
here.
optimistic and
All
take
right.
advantage of the advantages available for
Thank
us.
you so much, Dr. Fakorede. You have told us on how to balance saving and investment while also trying to enjoy our income, which is very good. But we'll pause here because we need to go on a break. So when we return, the conversation will continue. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And our discussion is still on managing personal finances in the year 2026. And we have our guests here. Just before we went on break, Dr. Fakorede was telling us about, balancing, saving and investments while enjoying your income. And also you gave us, several options, best savings options and investment options. Now let me bring in Ishao now. I mean, you have listened to the conversation so far. And earlier on, you were talking about women being ostentatious and all that. But I want to say something that I know a lot of women who are leading the pack when it comes to savings and investment. And you should know that what you spend on a girl child will be much more than what you spend on the boy child. But that's being aside. Tell us, we're talking about investment now and savings. But there are risks attached to all this because people need to carry out risk assessment. I want you to tell us, as an economist, individuals start investing with small budget. What are the risks, that one needs to consider when you say you want to go into savings, you want to go into investment, and so many others like that?
Any benefit that you get is out of risk. So there is no way you shy away from a risk in trying to get any benefit. And also you have to understand the challenges of modern market, which is contestable in nature. The entire market is hit around. So until when you have financial literacy to understand how to manage your finances, not just merely theoretical or practical, what that involves is simple. Now, instead for a salary earner to be packing his salaries in a bank account, why not do a sharing? Take a little percentage, 40,000, get a chicken, put them one side in a small cage. In 2-3 months, that chicken have grown and they have value, and you have saved and you have invested at the same time. The traditional society, let me be.
But what are the risks attached to such?
No,
because sometimes you have people having, poultry, and all of a sudden the poultry, they get
collapse,
attacked.
Yes,
maybe by probably disease or
that
whatever.
is other side. In any business, there is profit and loss.
So let's consider the risk assessment.
That's why I told you earlier that there is no benefit without any risk.
Okay.
Dangote that paid 100 million just to get a land and sea waters to build a refinery is a risk. But today is a reality. So that village woman that chooses to go market A instead of market B, she's taking risks, whether they are looking. And that's why I told you earlier that why we are overapplauding the issue of December and January constraint. Others are celebrating it, and they are in high number. Those that took Pepe, only Pepe, they just discover, they study the hit and run syndrome. The entire southerners from the northern part are going back there, and they are consumers. So they target them with goat, with perishables, and they rush them, and they collect all the monies they spend and come back with them, and they are now comfortable. And now they will look at seasonal again. What are you looking for? So there is risks associated in everything you do for a profit making. But the idea here is for you to be focused, to be literate of the market, to be literate of the performance of market. Let me give you. Yesterday I was telling my son, say, look, yam is cheap. Yam is cheap in Kuta, in Niger State. I'll give you money, go and buy and sell. You pay your school fees. Simple. Per 100 is 50,000 there. 100 is 100,000 naira here. Okay, take 300, go and buy. 100 times 3, come and sell. And then put your bills down. This is how you sit and arrange and then train and then forget about the risks. There is risks for him to go and lose the entire money. But that's different. But the purpose is we are investing to make profit. And that is what Professor was trying to guide. That after you pray, then you believe. That is faith. But when your faith is always on loss, then you will be a loser.
No, what I'm saying is, how do you conduct risk assessment?
Okay.
Yes, conducting risk assessment. We know that it depends. Because you can't make progress in life without taking risk.
Without assessment.
Yes.
In the first, and that's why
risk
I said
assessment.
You look at the environment, you look at the market, and you look at the potentials, and then you look at the income. That is the finance that you are putting in, and then the alternative to use. Because in any choice you make at any different interval, is that there are possibilities. Should I go into agriculture or should I go into manufactured goods, which is real? For instance, as I said, now there is a harvesting period. The entire market is, when you go to food commodity market, prices are down. And no matter how much you go and you buy, there's a profit you are going to make. You make that assessment. So it depends on the environment. It depends also on the volume of resources at a disposal at a given time. But when savings is mentioned, 1 naira savings is very important, because it will surely prove to you that you have saved it for a purpose, and that purpose will come and you are going to use it. And that is why today in Nigeria we are facing a lot of financial challenges, because we don't save, we overspend without conscience. And that's why today you find that a lot of our business people today, 1st January, they thought when it is 1st January, tax is going to take all their monies, because some people misguided them. Are you getting it? So now the whole tempo is down, because it's already 2nd January, and people will look at their savings in the bank, they will see they are still intact, but only COTs will be attached. So assessing a business has to do with the environment, because let me give you, as we are speaking about December, some have already made savings for fasting in February. We are going to make more spending more than ever. Are you getting it? So now people are moving into market, buying things to sell during fasting, because they know they are going to make fast money in the next 35 days. Because there are beans is going to be high demanded, and the prices will change. A lot of associate good that is being used during that first 30 days, and then Salah is also attached. So that is why sometimes a different environment, you see different opportunities. Those who are in the northern part of Nigeria, all this December, they are not workers, they don't care, because it's their harvesting period. All they are busy is to see how prices can change before people are now back. The same good that was transported to the south and east, now the same people will come back and then push pressure to the market. So they have already made target, they kept. So there is need for people who are good handcraft people to know that you can also invest in crafts making, because you store your value, you store your resources for anticipated gain.
Okay.
Many thanks.
Back into just about quickly to what my brother said.
Yes.
You know, when we're talking about risk assessment in itself, there's just a formula very popular in the area of development financing and entrepreneurship. You know, that is, when you want to go into business from the outset, you make your inquiries, your research about it. And what guides you along from the outset is the SWOT analysis, SWOT, which stands for the strengths you intend to have in the business, the weaknesses, W, that you experience within the business, the opportunities available within the intended venture, and of course the threats that are there. So if you're able to put this together, these are the things we do when we write business plan for enterprises from the outset. You'll be able to analyze in itself the risks that you will take, and you discover that if you do this succinctly, opportunities outweigh strengths, and opportunities usually outweighs that. Because Nigeria as a country, we have the demography, we have the enablement of business, ease of business in the policies from government. The corporate Nigeria in itself, our banks have come down to be saying, now you can come from term loans, single digit. I was surprised when the microfinance bank is saying, come take 4% for 6 months, to establish an SME, a small business, 4% on a monthly basis. That's fantastic. People used to think, oh, it's 30%, though there are still some commercial banks who are sharks, and they still stick to their 28, 30-something% per annum, and at the end of the day, you need to be careful. But make your inquiries to reduce, to lessen the risk factor.
Make inquiries. Many thanks. Many thanks, Dr.
And your SWOT analysis.
Dr. Fakorede. I think that, maybe government agencies, that deal with certain things like the SMEs and all of that should also be at the forefront of giving adequate information, because a lot of Nigerians are also misled in the kind of information they get. I mean, we've seen people who have invested in wrong businesses, people who have, put their money in Ponzi's, not knowing that they're actually Ponzi schemes, just because they got information from the wrong sources. So, having the right information is also important. And of course, you need to be guided where you get your information. I'll quickly read some of the comments we have from our viewers. This one is from Ahmed Baba Dikwa from Maiduguri. It says in 2026, smart money management means letting automation do the work. Set up automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts right after payday. Use an AI-powered financial assistant to track spending and spot savings opportunities. Most importantly, consciously align your spending with your values. Technology can optimize, but you define what's meaningful. Fantastic. Many thanks, Ahmed Babadikwa from Maiduguri, for this very important message. Another one says, I appreciate the views of all the guests on managing personal finances. I think the bottom line is the ability to imbibe that discipline is necessary to achieve the desired savings for future expenses. Ogen Nelvo Jogaga Godwin from Azare in Bauchi State sent that. This one says, in Nigeria, public servants in particular, saving and investment is very tedious, especially if you have a family. Training your children, their medical expenses and unforeseen circumstances may arise unless if you are a politician. That's coming from Tijani Umar Lau from Taraba State. I'd like us to get to Dr. Alabi now as we begin to round off this conversation. I'd like to hear your recommendation about how Nigerians should actually save and invest. I'm asking that again because, it's important they get the right information. So there's something you're going to say now, I'm sure someone's going to pick and be able to run with, all through the year and be able to optimize his or her finances. So I'd like to hear, what are the ways that you have tried it? We've heard from Dr. Korede, we've heard from Mr. Aliyu. I'd also like to hear your own views.
I think it's important to underscore this fact that for every individual, the issue of savings and investment is absolutely necessary. And that whatever the amount you earn, either from a single source, multiple stream of income, it's important that you identify the amount you want to consume and identify what you want to put aside as savings and for investment. Savings culminate into investment. Putting aside is good, but identify. Again, you have mentioned that, and it's very important too. For every investment you are going to, please do your critical analysis. Know the investment. Don't go into any investment without having a critical assessment of the benefits and the risk. For every investment you go into, there are risks. I say to people that rather than putting money in the bank, all right, that is not a good thing to do at all, because putting money in the bank is like a savings. Investment, look and ask your bankers, ask your stockbrokers, where can I safely put this $500,000? I don't need that. I'll give you an example. How can somebody put 5 million in a current account? And they say, I'm a millionaire. When you can buy a treasury bill at 14.5% for 90 days, and you get 170, 180,000 naira, which you can use for the next 90 days to do other thing. As a lecturer, if I have $1 million, I just look for that for 90 days in case I will need an emergency fund. You don't go for a year. So you can, the same thing goes for stocks, right? Don't just buy any stock at all. Be sure that you know what you are buying. And for all other business we are going into, either poultry, or agriculture, buying and selling, all I need you to do is please have a knowledge of the business. A simple business plan that tells you what are the 10 cartons I need to do, what are the materials I require, where are the markets, and who will buy it. Just do a simple business plan that tells you how to go about doing it. It's very, very important. I want us to be entrepreneurial this year, everyone that has. Entrepreneurship is not about buying and selling. It's about idea generation, identifying opportunities, and putting your resources into one thing at all. So it's very important. Above all, when you have the income coming in, please note one thing. Personal financial management requires that you track your expenditure. Very, very important. You might have streams of income, But if you don't track expenditure, you go off balance. So track what you are doing. I want to spend 5,000 on a recharge card this week. Am I overshooting it? It's very, very important. When you have a variance as negative, you correct it. Anytime you have an excess, you put it into someone else. Very, very important. Discipline we are talking about is about temptation. This economy will tempt everybody. Everybody want to be like Joneses. Cut temptations. Avoid things that you cannot avoid. Very, very important. I think I want to do that. One area we seem not to talk about is the debt. If you don't manage your debt portfolio, it can rubbish the entire street of income you have. So calibrate your debt. The one that you need to settle that will impede on your ability to generate more income. The one that you can spread out. Even nations reschedule debt, isn't it? Reschedule it. And where you can ask for debt forgiveness, ask. Uncle, my wife, I gave her $500,000 to do some quick thing in December. And I bought your clothes too. I can forgive you the remaining 200,000 naira. So work on your debt, because if you don't work on debt, it can affect you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Because of time, we apologize. We have to interject you there. We have some other comments which we quickly need to read out before we go on this conversation. This one is from Sharif Maiduguri. He said, "Good morning, Nigeria. For me, Nigeria Stock Exchange is the game changer. Under this dispensation, no losses. May Dangote refinery happen very soon." Now, this one is from Ibrahim Bio from Borno State. Is when someone has good to eat and takes care of himself, of rent and school fees without loans, that's when he can think of savings. This one is from MB. He says, managing personal finances requires some qualities as a person. 1, financial discipline, and 2, you must be strategic. Balarabe Salisu Dakwa from FCT says, today's Good Morning Nigeria is an exceptional program that really reshaped my thoughts, especially now that we have just begun the journey of 2026. Looking at the challenges we faced in the previous year, such as insecurity, financial hardship, subsidy removal, now the new tax policies being implemented, I believe Nigerians need to be more strategic and realistic in 2026. It's indeed an impactful conversation. That's from Robin. He said, God bless NTA, God bless Nigeria. Then from Akeju says, saving is different from investment, but what is important is to stabilize the economic environment to sustain the citizens. Okay, Chris Kaka, as we just wind up this conversation, let's get your parting shot in 30 seconds so that we can go around.
Okay, thank you very much. As much as the things we've discussed here is centered on the individual, I think government has also got a role to play, and that's where I want to make my comment. One is we still need government to do a lot about inflation, because even if you have all the whole money in the world, inflation could wipe it off. The other thing, we need some price regulation. We need some very strong price regulations to actually benefit the consumers and also the manufacturers themselves. We need to have some level of price regulation in the market.
Price regulation.
Yes.
Okay,
I think that government need to actually do that to help all of us.
Thank you, Chris. Dr. Fakorede, 30 seconds.
Self-discipline, integrity, patriotism, ensuring that you don't just sit down on your earth and criticizing. Rather, you get up and go to be able to get the goal.
Ishao.
Our government should lead in managing finances, and then educate Nigerians more on education, on how to manage finances and the opportunity.
Government needs to create more awareness on management.
Yes.
Okay. Prof.
All right. Prof, your last words in 30 seconds. All right.
In 20 seconds, I just want to say, Nigerians, this is 2026. Things are going to be better, but we must do something. We must be entrepreneurial in our thinking. Let's think entrepreneurship.
Thank you so much, Prof. You must do something so that something will not do you. I think that was the way you said it. Thank you very much, Chris Kaka, National Coordinator, Trade Network Initiative, Economist and Policy Analyst. It was indeed a pleasure to have you. Wishing you the best in 2026. Of course, Ishua Aliyu, an economist, always a regular. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And of course, the best of 2026. Dr. Martins Fakorede, Public Affairs Analyst. It was indeed a pleasure to have you once again.
The pleasure is mine.
Of course, looking forward to more engagement with you this year. year. Professor John Alabi, nothing do you, sir, and nothing go do you for 2026. Prof of Entrepreneurship and Corporate Strategy, Federal University Lokoja, President and Chairman, Governing Council, Certified Institute of Entrepreneurship and Enterprise Education, joins us from our Lokoja studio. Thank you so much. So that's our program this Friday. I'm Ian Ray John. Enjoy the new year.
And I'm David Dimbalade.